without further ado, we can move on to our next speaker of the evening. And our next speaker of the evening, his name is Njabulo Mowa from South Africa. And I would just like to tell you a bit more about him. First and foremost, he is a devoted Christian and a lover of Jesus Christ. He is the founder of NM's Kitchen. He is the admin manager at the Wedge Spa. He is a crazy but reserved person. He enjoys sports, movies, and reading. NM's Kitchen started in 2019 as just a small street vendor business selling home replacement meals. Later in 2021, it grew into a restaurant with various types of meals, from fast food to drinks to desserts, and it was also listed on Uber Eats. So that is just a bit about Njabulo Mowa, and he is going to be teaching us on overcoming adversity. So I'm really, really excited to hear about what Njabulo has to share with us today, and really, really excited to hear from him. So without further ado, sir, please come through. The platform is yours.
Hi everyone, how are you? Can you please confirm if you can hear me?
We can hear you and see you loud and clear.
Oh, that's wonderful. The network gets a bit glitchy this side. Please just forgive me if it keeps on just glitching and everything. And then I greet you all in the name of Jesus, our Lord and wonderful grace. So this is a wonderful platform. I'm grateful to be called and such that we meet as Christians, that we can get all together because of we need to dominate such places. It's not that we must not be there as Christians, but we need to be there as well and start to show them that we as well are committed to businesses. So I would like to speak on adversaries on the business side, starting about the principles actually. So the principles that I would like to speak about is the rooted of the principle side of the business and the Christian side. I would like to break it down on the principle side because of when it comes to adversaries is that we need to understand the principles on as Christians when we're going into business, and then we need to understand principles as humans that governs money, because of there's principles that governs money, there's principles as a Christian way that you need to conduct your business, and failure to understand those things, it can cause failure to your business actually. You can fall along the way, or you can crash sooner that you can think. You can think your business is growing only to realize that you have twisted with a lot of principles that can later backfire on you. So the principles that I would like to start about, that's the principles that governs us as Christians when you're going into business. You need to understand as a Christian that when you're going into business, you need to understand that you need to pray before you open your business. That's the first thing you need to do before you do anything. You need to pray first before you start touching anything, before you start doing anything. Open your business with prayer at all times, whether you are in a hurry to open, whether you are very in a tight space or whatsoever, because of sometimes time is not on your side and you get there late. As me, I'm running a restaurant. You get there late, and then the stock and everything, and then you need to open as quick as you can. And when you want to open, you said, okay, let me just skip prayer today and whatsoever. But prayer is the first thing you do when you open your business. Create time of prayer at all times. And another thing is that your business must give back to the community. You can't start a business and your business doesn't tithe, or it doesn't give back to the poor, or it doesn't feed whoever is out there. So what I've started is that every time I take 100 rand, I'll change it into coins, and then as I drive through the streets, I start giving out 2 rands to whoever out there is out there on the streets. When I'm about to close the business, that food, I do not throw it away. I'll give it to the homeless people that I know in the nearby. And then those who need funding in businesses, there's certain people that I've helped to start their own things, those who are in trading, those who are not, so that I can give them the capital that they will be able, that they will start their own thing as well. Because remember that sometimes you're given a business so that you can as well uproot everyone who's near you. You can be the light of something big in your street. So don't hold everything that you're doing to yourself. So whatever you start, that's a little, try as much as possible to give back to the community. You can make it a 10%. If that tithe you don't want to give it to the church or anything, it's fine. That tithe, you can break it down to your community. Try to reach to everyone in the street who's looking to start something, who's poor, who's all out there, because of there's a lot of young people that are out there that lacks the capital to start their own thing, and they don't have money and all this. They are just in a tight space of money. So that's one thing for sure. I would say is principles that govern us as Christians is open with prayer, make time for God, and at all time give back to the community. So that's one thing that I will say. Let's stick into that when it comes to God. And then every time when you sleep, just pray about your business as well. Because if you remember that the knowledge that you have, it's not yours. The vision that you have, it doesn't belong to you. It's not by might, it's not by strength, it's by his power. So you need to understand that your wisdom is limited when it comes to the world, but the wisdom that you can govern from God, it's abundant. You can get greater wisdom and knowledge from God, which can help you to open certain doors. Let me just make one just a simple example. Take for example when God created a human, after it was created, all it needed, it was the God factor, that soul, that air to be spirit into our nose so that we will be alive once again. So for us to grow in business, we need that God factor, and that God factor, it's something that can upbring us and grow us. So, moving away from the principles that govern us as a Christian, I would love to move to the principles that governs money. You have to respect money. If you don't respect money, I don't think you will understand the ethics of business going forward. So, there's a thing that says a man's character is it's his fate. So, meaning that your principles have to be aligned with your money, and then your character, you have to align your character with your fate to go together as well with the principles that governs money. If you don't know the principles, you have to learn the principles. There's a book that I love, the Richest Man in Babylon. Oh, that's a wonderful book. I'll suggest everyone that reads the book actually. So that book, The Richest Man in Babylon, it talks about the three most basic principles that you can ever understand. So those principles is that the first thing is that live beyond your means, live beyond the money that you can make, live beyond the salary or the business profits or the GP, the gross profits that your business can ever make. Live beyond, not beyond actually, sorry, live below it. So try to minimize your life that it does not exceed the money that you make, your profit and your everything. And then that money that you take, which is if you let's say, just making an example, your profit gives you 10,000 like a week. Try to live a life of like probably 6,000 a week. Let your 6,000 a week be a life expenses. Don't make your life to be beyond your profits that you make. So that's one thing that it teaches us. And the second one that I like, it teaches us that don't take advices for someone who's not in the field of what you're doing. So it literally tells us that there was a brick maker. The brick maker suggested to that boy that I know someone that sells the jewelry, and we can go buy that jewelry at a cheaper price and then sell it at an expensive price. So that was a foolish decision, because if you can't let a person that deals with that makes bricks to tell you about jewelry. So at all costs, as our latest speaker that just spoke now, it tells us that you need to be, so your community that you build around you, the people that you associate with, it must be the same people of the same tongue, of the same language that you understand, the same language that you speak as well. So try to build your circle with people that understand and speaks the same language. I'm not saying don't make friends in other aspects of business, but mostly when it comes to mentors and people that's going to advise you, stay in that lane. That when you want to be digital, speak to people that mostly have been in the digital business, have started or have failed, or people that are studying towards digital or are working in companies in digital departments. So as I'm in a restaurant, it's me whereby I build relationships when it comes to people owning restaurants. I understand my space. I focus towards my space of being in a restaurant. I Google a lot about your McDonald's. I Google a lot about your KFC, your all those restaurants, your Paul Petter, your Tasha's, all those restaurants that you can think of are mostly entwined with them to know exactly what space are they in and what has caused them to grow as far as they have grown actually. So it's the second thing that you must understand, that you must at all costs associate yourself with the same people that speaks your language. And the third one that it teaches us, it tells us about making your profit to bear you another profit. So don't eat your profit as early as you can. So that's a mistake you can ever make when you're starting a business. When you're starting to make profits and then now you're starting to eat it, you're starting to spend it rapidly than you can ever make. You're starting to buy a car, you buy a house, or you're trying to expand your business in a quickest way, not even calculating if can you able to do that. So it's always be passionate and then wait upon your business to grow according. And then after that, that's when you start taking your profits and making your profits to build you other profits. And you're taking those profits. So you're literally saying it's like you being a parent, you bear a child, don't take that child and use it. Let that child bear another child, and then let that child bear you another child, and so on until you have soldiers of children. And then in that space, you'll be able to expand, to start spend and everything. So those are the basic principles that governs our money, and then principles that governs us as Christians as well. And then one thing I would like to move to is character. You need to understand your character as well. Character is one defect that has brought down many people. It's one of the adversaries in business whereby people fail to understand their character. People never stick to their character. People move away to their character. So understanding your character, sticking to your character is the most basic thing you should do. As I said, that a man's character is his fate. So you being faithful to yourself is your character. So a character actually makes us understand, if I think years back, what they taught us in live orientation, the subject that we all thought we were there to just play and everything. In live orientation, they teach us about SWOT. So SWOT consists of your strengths, your weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. So in that aspect of SWOTs is that you need to understand your SWOTs. You need to understand your weaknesses. You need to understand your opportunities. You need to understand your threats. In that way, just to break it down, is that your strengths as a person, as a character, your strengths in your character, actually, rather, your strengths in your character, they will determine what kind of a person are you and how do you fit in the business world. Remember that in business, there's many fields that one can fit in. There's entrepreneurs, there's those who are co-founders, there's those who are in marketing, there's founders, the CEOs, there's a lot in the business sense. So you understanding your strengths is where you will focus mostly in what you are good at, rather than being all at once trying to fit in every space in your business. So your strengths will help you to determine where you fit. Take, for example, a car. A car, in a book that Miles Monroe wrote, the power of character in leadership. He speaks about a car. For making an example, it says, takes for example a car. What's the most important part in a car? One would think the most important part in a car is the engine. One will come argue that the most important part in the car is the battery. One will come argue that the most important part of the car probably is your petrol or whatsoever, your tank. But think about that. An engine without a battery wouldn't be powered up. So an engine without a battery, it's literally useless. So if an engine, or let's say rather a battery, didn't understand its place and its strength, that its duty is only to power up the engine, it was gonna fail because of it was gonna try to do the duties of the engine, and then there will be no one there to power up the car or to power up the engine. So the engine's duty is to receive the power from the battery, and the batteries the batteries thing is to make sure that it gives power to the engine. And in between those two, there's a wire that costs around about $30, if I'm not mistaken, about 60 rands or 90 rands. So that wire alone, if you remove it, the electricity that has to go through from the engine, from the battery to the engine, it's cut off. So who's really the important person in the car? Which character really matters the most in the car? So that's where you start to understand that you understanding your strengths, it's you staying exactly in your lane and not fighting with other people. You understanding where exactly do you fit in your business. Starting a business as a restaurant, you need to understand that probably maybe you are not good in marketing. Probably maybe we are not good in financial statistics, because of, remember, starting a business, there's admin side of it, and which is very important as well, and there's marketing, which is very important as well, and then there's the side of food, the presentation, the way you prepare food, and there's an atmosphere of the business that you need to create, which is very important as well. So yes, many people are gifted in all aspects whereby they're able to maneuver all around those things, but hardly you'll find those people. So I'll say understand your SWOT, first thing being your strengths. Where do you fit perfect the most? If it's your space is to market, just start a marketing company and look for business that you can market for. If your field is to cook, just go for the cooking and everything. Start to find someone who wants to start a restaurant. It will be easier for all of you to combine and merge in one sense of growing as a business. And then there's weaknesses. You need to understand it's just the opposite of your strengths. It goes hand in hand with your strengths. If you know that you've got weaknesses in certain place, stick to your weaknesses. Try to learn as far as you can, but understand that you are limited in that area. Give space to certain people that have got strengths in that. Make sure that in that area you are able to grow other people with your weaknesses. So we are created in this way in the world. So when the Bible started, it says we are all created in the image of God. We are to bring about the kingdom of Jesus on earth. Let thy kingdom on earth be done on earth as it is in heaven. So it means what you need to understand is this. We all must fit together in one space for us to create a business. We all must understand each other to fit in a business, in a realm of God. So when they say we are all created in image, is that we all acquire a certain percentage of God. I have an image of God. You have an image of God. Everyone has got an image of God that they have. So we need to put that puzzle in place for us to dominate the earth. We need to feed one in together. My weaknesses, it's someone else's strengths. And my strengths, it's someone else's weaknesses. I cannot live without that person. There's a saying that says, that I hate, that says, or it's not a saying, people like to say, don't tell me anything, this is my life. There's no such thing as your life. We are all built to feed one another as a puzzle onto this earth. So as Christian, as we are combined like this, it's a good thing that we need to up the Christian business side of things. They need to stop thinking that we're only going to church to pray and then come back. We do not dominate in certain. We need to see buildings that are owned by Christians. We need to see us being in billboards as Christians. We need to see every place being closed every Sunday, that we're giving opportunity for everyone to go to church. So we need to reach that place whereby this place is governed in a way of Christianity, and then we fit in the puzzle of a business world. So going on to opportunities is that give other people opportunities. And you as a person, you need to see where you need to grow in opportunities. When you start something, it doesn't mean it ends there. Just to give a story that you all know about McDonald's. Today, McDonald's is not owned by McDonald brothers. There's actually not even one family member that works in McDonald's. So that business, in an essence, you can't say it was built for the McDonald family. So that business today, there's a lot of families that have granted opportunities amongst that McDonald business, that today it has grown worldwide, that is able to give opportunities to a lot of people. So in that aspect is that when you build something, build it that you're not only looking at your family, you're not only looking at a certain thing that's maybe probably want to get rid of poverty, or you want to be in the billboards only, or what, but build a business to create opportunities for yourself to grow, for your community to grow, for all the people around you to grow as well. So your business must be an opportunity to take away hunger, to build. Actually, in the book of the richest man in Babylon, it says the people that made Babylon to be the richest place is because of it had people that were richest in the world. So for an economy to grow, you need certain individual people who are billionaires and millionaires so that the place can grow. Your place like your Dubai, it's because of the certain people who are there, individually millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, multi-billionaires, who are actually making the place to grow. So the worth of a place is determined by you being a millionaire, me being a millionaire, and all of us. So we need to grow in a space of Christians being multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires. And your threads is that you need to understand as well that there's certain things that you can't get away, like your COVID coming through. It's things like when the pandemic, comes true. There's things that you can never predict, but they do come through and unannounced. No one knows what's going on. No one knows the truth behind it. COVID has caused a lot of businesses to shut down, but we as Christians, we need to understand that threats, we leave them to God, and threats, we plan towards them. Like your pandemic, actually the pandemic, what it has done most is that it has shown which businesses stick to the principle of the businesses, or which businesses lacked the principles. So most businesses that fell during pandemic, it was mostly businesses, not all of them, but it was mostly businesses that were lacking with principles, with how they govern their businesses in the world. There's one thing that Vusi Tembuwayo says. He says your business can make a revenue of, actually your business can grow in revenue daily or monthly, but your business can depreciate, or while your business depreciates in value. It's a funny thing. How can a business grow in value, but the value of a business depreciates? It's something that when you hear it the first time, it hits your brain. You can't understand until you sit down and listen to it. That those certain things is that when everyone, sorry, that when you come to those things, when you come into those things, sorry about that. When you come into those things, you need to understand that as a person who has grown into those things, it becomes easier for you to understand what Vusi Tembuwayo is actually talking about. Actually, when your business is growing in revenue, but it's depreciating in value, so you tend to understand, okay, there's certain principles that you must never lose in business. There's certain things that you must never just let go when your business is going up in sales, but the value is going down. So there's certain things that you have to look at. So those pandemic, when they come through, they will expose your business. That's where we'll see that, oh, the sales were growing, yes, but your business lacks discipline. Your discipline lacks your character. Your discipline lacks dishonesty. Your discipline lacks probably faith. Your discipline lacks certain things. When I talk about character in those disciplines and everything, it's like probably your supplier that used to supply you, because I'll mostly based it in the restaurant side. The supplier that used to supply you, it's probably gone up with prices, and you got someone who's stealing probably on work, or is a supplier that's stealing on Clover or stealing on whatsoever industry they are, and they want to sell you those stolen goods. Trust me, you might think you at that point buying those goods as it's you just accepting it and making profit at higher prices. Yes, your revenue will go up because of your GP will grow up. If you bought something at 15 Rand, you added 30% GP. Yes, you're making good profit to it. But the value of your business will depreciate because of now you're messing up with your values, you're messing up with your characters, you're messing up with the principles of the business. You're inserting things in your business that not supposed to be there. Your external forces that you're bringing in there that you don't understand. Now it starts to govern your business, and it shapes your business. It shapes your thoughts in a different manner. So I love to tell you that threats something that actually you should look at. And then when your business is growing high, don't just celebrate and say the sales are going up. It means I'm doing very well. Guess why did Jesus suddenly question it when people ran to him after he performed miracles? As you know, if people mostly would start churches, if there's 2 people coming in and then tomorrow there's 500 people coming in, you'll be happy that, oh, it means my revenue is going up, but it means I'm growing as a person. But Jesus questioned that. Because Jesus questioned why suddenly there's a lot of followers that I had suddenly that are governing to me than I had before. It's because of they saw the miracles. A lot of them were there not because of faith, not because of they believed in him. They were there because of they saw the miracles. So there's one thing that we need to understand as well, whereby we need to focus mainly and mostly on the process and not focus on the results. Because of mostly what we did is that the results tends to take away everything that we have, and the process we deprive from it. We become we become lopsided actually, that we are more on the side of the miracles, if I can say. We more focus on the miracles, but the process side of it, we run away from it. We want to run restaurants that are very high and everything, but the startup, the principles that governs your place, what you get inside your business, what you get out your business, how you sell, how you speak, how you market, it all governs your business. It all builds the foundation of your business. And if your foundation is built on good principles, if your garden is built on good values as well, on good faith, it's hard for it to break down. That's where you will start to understand that, okay, now I'm starting to grow as a person, to see the bigger picture of everything. Yeah. Any questions before I even move any further? Just want to know if everyone has got any questions.
Perhaps we would recommend you maybe proceed and then we ask all the questions at once at the end.
Okay, no problem with this.
Sure.
Okay, as I've touched base on the character, the principles that governs money, and one most thing that we need to look at is okay, they did speak about the startup yesterday, but I would like to add on to it that the way you start, it will actually determine how far you're going to go. You can plan now, but where you're going actually, it's where you're going you can never know, but how you started, it will actually determine, as I spoke about foundation, actually the startup of your business. So I like to say, starting up a business, just groom a lot of people around you, get people who are in the same faith, build a community around you. Most businesses were built based on many people combining their ideas. Most businesses is not a single-handed business. I say this because I'm speaking from experience of being lonely in the businesses, in the business sense. Actually, you trying to do everything yourself, you trying to understand everything by yourself. It comes and bites you because of you all over, and especially if you've got an 8 to 5 job, it will drain you. So how you start up, just try to gather people in the same sense that they've got the same view as you have. Build a community, as I said, that can help you to grow in that business that you want to grow, the vision that you want to build. So it makes it easier for you to go about. And one thing is that you need to understand which ladder belongs to you. When I mean ladder, I mean the ladder, literally the one that you use to go up. You need to understand which one mostly your business represents. Are you in the business? Are you in a business to copycat other people's things, which is necessarily do not advise, but I will necessarily advise that your business should be something that you're passionate about. If you are not passionate, it's likely that your zeal as time goes on, it will break. You will fail of zeal as time goes on because of it's something that you're not passionate at. So find something that you're passionate on. Find a ladder that belongs to you, that you are able to climb at your own pace, not a ladder that you see other people climbing. And then as time goes on, imagine climbing a ladder. Imagine a person mostly who's like probably, let's say, installing your DSTV. They climbing a ladder, and as they are top there, someone moves away the ladder. So it brings the question of who moved my ladder? Or did the ladder belongs to you? So in certain cases, if you climb a ladder at your own pace that belongs to you, it makes it easier for you to maneuver around certain problems that you'll face along the business. Yeah, I think that's about it from my side. Facing the adversaries and the challenges of the business, I will say this is the most basic things that we need to look at.
Wow. Sir, thank you so much for that. That was so packed with there's so much wisdom, so much insight on the challenges and not only the adversaries, yeah, but how to overcome. You touched on a lot. I've taken so many notes as well personally. Even how you started off, it's just at the very beginning, you need to pray for your business. It seems so simple, but it's incredibly profound. Understanding the ethics of money, knowing your character, the SWOT, focusing on the process and not the results. Really, really powerful. Once again, thank you so much. God bless you for that. Really, really informative, wise, profound quote that you have given us to this evening. Thank you so much. I would immediately just like to open up the floor based off of all the gems that have been dropped in the last 30 minutes. Is there anyone who has a question or a comment or something they would like to ask our brother Njabulo here? You know, people seem to be very, very shy today, but this is a great opportunity to really just ask and just gain some more insight. Going once, going twice. Okay, let me ask. I've got a couple of questions that I'd like to ask you. Firstly, you said SWOT. That it's when you talked about strengths, right? You said that it's important that you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses. And you play to your strengths, and of course you also, again, you're aware of your weaknesses. What would you advise? How do you advise someone? Sometimes it's easy to be overconfident and to, let's say, overestimate your strengths. Sometimes we can even quote the, Philippians 4, I can do all things. I don't have weaknesses. So now how do you keep someone grounded where we're grounded and we are saying, okay, let me play to my strengths, truly play to my strengths and focus on my strengths. And where does that awareness come from? Is that awareness that you need to spend time with yourself to reflect on? Or is it awareness that, let's say, through mentorship? Or is it through maybe a mentor guiding you, saying, okay, this is, or is it through community, people telling you, so how are you aware of that? Become more aware of your strengths and not lean where you're overconfident on your abilities. Yeah, maybe you can just share on that, please. Hello, sir. Yeah, if you can, did you hear the question? If you can please unmute. I think you're still muted.
Yeah, I heard the question. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Please proceed, sir.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very actually truth, because of you say we can do all things through Christ who strengthen us. But we need to understand that before I go to the world, is that God, there's a place whereby one was giving 2 talents, one was giving 5 talents, one was giving 3 talents. So in that space is that everyone is equipped in certain talents that they should acquire into this world, or that should bring into this world. So those talents, as a person, as you pray more, as you what, it comes as a vision to yourself. And if you are true to yourself that this is the vision that God has given me to plant into this earth, you will go according to that vision, not copy someone else's things. So when we say, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, is through the vision that God has planted through us to go about. And as well, one thing that I've realized about strength is that mostly strength is something that when you look at someone doing it, it's like you say, actually, I think I can do that better. Not in a sense of ego, but in a sense of saying what this person is doing, I actually can improve it better. Actually, I don't think they're doing it correct here. I think they should be doing this like this. You look at it in a way of improving it. Like when I see a restaurant, I look at it in a way of, no, but the restaurant lacks this, lacks this. It goes with your passion. It goes straight up with your passion. What is it exactly that you like? And the people as well, when I spoke of the community, it plays a huge role because of your community as well is able to tell you that we think this is your best place. This is where you're good at. Your mentorship, the person that mentors you is able to guide you in certain places that this is where you are. This is where you are. This is where you should be. If you mix that with your vision, you mix that with your passion, with your zeal. You know, if you've got zeal for if you like, you're trying to force something, somewhere, somehow it'll break. Whether you like it or not, you can't force it for the next 20 years, for the next 30 years. It will break eventually. We've seen a lot of brands that trying to copy something else, but they break. Or you see a lot of brands trying to do something else and then they are all over. You don't know where actually they stand. So it's something that it grows within you. We are passionate about. It's a vision that it's God-given vision of your opportunities. It's something that your mentor is able to uprise onto you or to bring to our attention.
All right. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Maybe another question I can ask is, how do someone who's maybe, let's say they're aspiring to start a business, or perhaps they're already in business and they're looking for a mentor, how do you go about finding a mentor? Is it just about going up to someone and saying, please be my mentor? Or, where does someone find a mentor in their respective industry for the business they're doing? What would you advise on that? One, maybe
Okay. It's not necessarily the one specific place whereby you can find mentors, but mostly is that, for example, most people believe if you go play golf, that way you'll meet your investors, your everything and all this. But if you go to restaurants to go have tea in places, if you go to certain places and spend time there. So what I mean is that try to communicate as much as you can with every space that you have. Go to places. Go to certain places. For example, I once went to McDonald's just to have coffee. For some reason, I met a guy there that's doing property. The guy just saw me sitting there, and then I spoke to him, and then he came to me and said, why are you sitting here alone? I'm just having coffee and this. He started telling me about his businesses. Funny enough, we grew to be in partnership with that person. So what I'm trying to say is that when you are mostly in business, socialize yourself. Don't cocoon yourself in one place. There's a lot of places you can find mentorship, investors as well. Speak about your business. Speak loud up. Let your business represent who you are. Let your business speak for itself. Remember that when you start a business, you're starting a brand. As of today, we don't know who started Coca-Cola, but it's a brand that's out there everywhere. So that brand, it has grown to reach everyone where it is. So go to church. When you go to church, don't go to church and pray and then come back. Hallelujah. That's it. There's a lot of business in there. Socialize with them. speak with them. Some of them, they know certain things that you do not.
Mm.
When you're at work, speak about your business, speak about your plans. Go have a coffee somewhere, go play golf, go watch soccer, go to a stadium, watch soccer, go out as much as you can. Expose yourself to the world. And one thing we know about the brain is that we can't think as far as what your brain can see. So your brain needs to open. Your brain needs to hear certain things. You need to travel to see places, and that's where you will open. Your mind will be open, and that's where your conversation will grow as well. That's where you'll be able to speak with people when you see them playing golf. You're able to speak with them when you go to Formula One or go watch rugby or you go spend yourself in a cricket. And another thing is, what I've seen most, don't spend time mostly in places whereby you say it's black orientated. Like your places whereby you go only to soccer, or probably you say you go to clubs alone or street bashes or whatsoever, or only your church here. Go to places like rugby, cricket, your golf, your Formula One, your restaurants that are high there. Even if you can't afford to eat in that restaurant, go buy something, buy that coffee, buy something, look neat, look nice. Always be able to start up a conversation with people. Read books as well, so that your lingo can be able to adapt easy to certain people. And sell yourself when you get the space. So a mentor is not something you can actually find in a corner and say, there's a person I want him to be my mentor. It actually doesn't work like that. You find a mentor as you go along, as you sell yourself, as you understand that your brand is bigger than you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. Thank you. That's really great. I guess the final question I can ask you is, you touched on, a book. Actually, no, before I ask that question, I see that a hand has been raised, and it's Toko Kadewere. Thank you so much for raising that hand, Toko. Let me actually, Toko, if you can please unmute yourself and perhaps ask, and even if you can show your video as well, if you, that no pressure though, but it would be nice to see you. But please ask what you wanted to ask.
I am in bed, so I don't feel comfortable showing myself. Maybe next time. But I have two questions. So the first one is, I loved how in your last point, Njabulo, you talked about a verse in the Bible that says, as far as your eyes can see, it is yours. So I wanted to ask how, as a Christian and someone who's interested in business, how you can discern what you should pursue in terms of business, especially when you're someone who's gifted in a lot of areas. Like, how do you say, okay, this is something that I should turn into a business and monetize, or this is something that is for me, or something that is for me and my community and shouldn't be shared or turned into a business? So that's question number one, because I don't know if it's just me, but I tend to kind of get excited, like, oh, I want to do this and this and this. And obviously it's just one of me, and I can't do everything. And I just also feel like I have to be responsible, because there's certain things, especially when it's gifts, that aren't meant to be used in a certain way. And I just don't want to fall into that rut. And the last question I have is for seasons when God is silent, or when it feels like God is silent. So I feel like life has everybody has some sort of routine in life where you wake up in the morning, you pray and you journal, you listen to music, you get your coffee, like you have a routine for how your day goes. And the same goes for business. Like, business is kind of, you could start your day with an angry customer, for instance, or you could start your day and it's kind of slow, but there still is a routine there. So as a Christian, obviously you're led by God, you want to listen to God, you want to take his direction. But how does that work in seasons where he is seemingly quiet? in the business is kind of stagnant as well? Do you sit in that stagnancy and say, okay, I'm going to trust that everything is going to work out eventually? Or do you now tap into your business and just kind of be like, okay, if I've been praying, I've been fasting, I've been doing the things that I know I'm supposed to do from a Christian perspective. And because it sounds like it's crickets from God, should I just go off and take a business route and say, okay, from a business perspective, maybe I should try doing A, B, C, D, and also maybe risking going out of what God had initially told you to do, if that makes sense? I know it's kind of a bit messy, and I could clarify a bit more, but those are the two questions that I had.
Okay, so I get you. Let me start with the first one, and thank you for that questions as well. Many talents. That's a good one actually, because of remember that talents. It's something that, as I said, that other people were given 1 talent, other were given 4, other were given 5. Just to quote back to the Bible itself. So before I go into detail in that, it speaks. One thing I want to highlight is that the people that Jesus chose to be to be his people, his disciples, were businessmen actually, all of them. He didn't just choose people that were randomly. He didn't just choose people randomly. He chose people that were in business sense. Remember that Peter was a fisherman. So as Peter was a fisherman, he called him. So what I'm trying to say is that he called him to come and summon people into to the Bible, to the religion of Christianity. So your physical realm, your business realm must be aligned with your spiritual realm. That gift never actually is not distant as much as you can think. As much as Paul was to caught fish, Jesus called him to caught the humans. Actually, I don't know if you understand me there. He called him to come and catch people. Instead of him catching fish, he had a greater thing for him to do, which is catching human, bringing them into his kingdom. So mostly your business must be aligned with your thing in Christianity, in your religion. It must not be something that distance. Most of the pastors, if you ask them, mostly are teachers, mostly someone who likes to lead and all this. So it must mostly be something that's aligned in you. So don't derive away from what God has given you to something is aligned. To make it as simple as I can on my side is that when I serve in church, I'm a person who counsels. I like to counsel people. So when I come here in my business, it's like I like to give people food that they can enjoy. So in a way, I'm counseling people through food. I'm reaching their souls through food. And one thing I'm doing as well is that I'm funding people as well. I'm able to fund the businesses of other people. So I'm there to counsel in my church, and I'm there to counsel in my physical realm as well, as we live in the physical realm. So at every time is that your talents, if you've got 5 talents or 10 talents, one thing you need to understand is that those 5 or 10 talents that you have, and if you are able to do them, is that there's one disadvantage that many people that can do everything have, is that they want to do everything at once. So starting everything at once is not something that's easier for you. So it's easier if you start something, you finish it, and then you move to other things, and then you are able to move to other things and other things. So if you are given many talents, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't exercise those talents actually, but those talents must bear you other talents, as it said as well. And then you must be able to start one thing and finish it. Because if I know exactly the disadvantage of being able to do many things, you want to be there at once, and that's something that's gonna, at the end, you will look what we have done, and we have started many things, but we haven't built a brand actually. We haven't established one thing that's good because of we are everywhere at once. And to answer the second one, where God is quiet, yeah, we actually we all feel we feel that actually. There's certain times where in business it's just quiet. There's no sales. There's no walk-ins. Like it's quiet. You don't have anything to base yourself in. You think, is this the right business for me? Where is God in this? And then you start to question yourself. Is this the right vision? Is this the right path? Am I in the right direction? You will have those adversaries. You will have those challenges. Remember this, without challenges, you wouldn't know what you're good at. Without obstacles, you wouldn't go to another level. That's why when you play a game, it's got different obstacles on every challenge. On the second level, you wouldn't find the same obstacles as you find on the last challenge. So obstacles are meant to be there to grow you, to groom you, to see how passionate are you, to see how strong are you, to see, because of remember other things that happens is that when business start to go wrong, other people, they divert from their fate. They start to go there by apasha, if I may call it. They start to go certain ways that are not in line with their Christianity. So obstacles are there to test how strong are you in God, are there to test your character. How true are you to your character? How true are you to your faith? How long can you stay? As I mentioned the pandemic last time, is that you being in God and then the pandemic hits, it challenges your principles as well. So if you started your business in good foundation and you don't divert from it, you stick to it, it makes it easier for you to face those obstacles, especially if we are in one sense of a business whereby we are gifted in, we are talented in, we are not copycat someone else. You're not doing something that you saw someone, you're not do as I do person. It's something that you have always wanted to do, something that you're passionate about. And the one of saying, okay, I just saw a message here about wrapping up. The one is just to wrap up very quick. The one about where is God? I want to wrap it in a way of, if you use your talent in a manner that is not suitable to God, your conscience, as long as you stay in God, will always guide you that what you're doing is not in line with God. Yeah, that's about it. I hope I've answered your question in full.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much. That was very insightful. I got dragged. But I feel like my two huge takeaways, and these are questions that I'll be reflecting on probably later on when I'm journaling. How is your work reflecting God? And also, is your, like, how are you using your talents? Are you using your talents to spread the glory of God? I feel like those are things that I need to sit down and reflect on, because it, like you said, it's very easy to get diverted, especially when things get exciting, when people start speaking into your business as well, like, oh, maybe you should try doing this and that and that, and then you kind of forget that in as much as you're the person that's putting this work out, it's not your idea, it's been given to you and you're just a steward. So yeah, I really appreciate your insight on that. There's a lot for me to work on, and yeah, thank you so much for guiding me on that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Njabulo. Really, really appreciate not only what you shared, but even the questions, you answering the questions that have been presented to you. I'm sure we can all testify that we've learned so much. So thank you so much. Yeah, just God bless you for everything that you've shared with us today. And yeah, I can see how you said that you counsel, because yes, that has been evident by how you have answered the questions tonight. Thank you so much. Yeah, and perhaps maybe the last, before we move on to the next section, perhaps Njabulo, I can just ask you if you can perhaps just write on the chat. You referenced the Richest Man in Babylon as a book that was a really great book. Perhaps if you can just write in the group or in the chat section other books that you recommend Christian entrepreneurs to read that would be of value to us. If you can just do that in the chat, I think that would be great. Thank you so much.